This man is drunk. Wait, am I drunk? I'm nobody. Yes, you do have a problem. God's got this. No, I got this. You're stupid. You're dumb. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a son. I'm a leader. I am Marcus J. Scott. I'm Marcus J. Scott, author of The Drunken Preacher, here to encourage critical thinking, social awareness, advocate growth, resilience, provide hope, and help you find faith. Welcome to another edition of The Drunken Preacher Podcast. I'm Marcus J. Scott. And man, I'm excited about this one. Oh, we in the month of March. Ooh, I can't even talk. We're in the month of March. And I'm not even sure if you guys can hear me well. So I'm gonna bring this a little closer. We're in the month of March, and man, I tell you, I'm just super excited. Today I'm going to get into pressure reveals who you become. Yeah, pressure reveals who you become. And I'm talking about 360 degrees of pressure. 360 degrees all the way around, how we look at it from all angles. Because sometimes, just being under pressure is painful. Yeah, sometimes just being under pressure is painful. And so when I think about, which I talk about quite a bit in my book, The Drunken Preacher, first of all, starting out as a kid, I didn't really think about it too much as a little kid. But as I got older, just the pressure of being a preacher's kid, right? Some of the pressures that I had, the friends would, say I was a, goody two shoes, or I couldn't do anything because my dad was a preacher or a pastor, and so they just looked at me different. And as a kid, that was like pressure. And so the reason, and here's what people don't realize, right? A lot of times the reason that preachers' kids, what people consider them as being some of the worst ones, is because usually we're trying to show everybody, I'm not my dad, I'm not my mom, I'm not my grandparent, whoever the preacher or the pastor was or is. It's like, I'm not them and I could do whatever I want. I'm not just because they the two goody two shoes, I don't have to be the goody two shoes. I could do what y'all do. And so a lot of times we overdo it. A lot of times we do more just trying to show that we can do it, or that we're not our parents, or it's not like what you think. And so we end up overdoing. So that in of itself was pressure as a young kid, a teenager, growing up. But then for me personally, it was, trying to make my dad proud. And so like, man, when is it ever going to be good enough for him? And, I talked about some of this when he was on the podcast. From my point of view, it was, he said, do your best. But then even if it was like something that was really good, he would always say, well, you could have done this better, or you could have done that better. And so as a result, in my adult life, I'm always looking at what could I have done better, or what can I do better? I'm always looking to improve, because I want to be the best, whatever it is that I can be. He always said, if you're going to be a garbage man, be the best garbage man. Don't just be an average garbage man. And growing up in that was pressure. But guess what that pressure did for me? That pressure helped shape me to who I have become and still becoming. And a lot of times we don't want the pressure. We are always asking for God to give us this or give us that, or bless us with this or bless us with that. And usually, you ever heard somebody say, be careful what you pray for? Well, the reason being is because when you ask God for something, more than likely it's going to come with some pressure or some crushing. More than likely it's going to come with some pressure or some crushing. Or sometimes, as the Bible puts it, some pruning. And pruning hurts. That's cutting away sometimes the bad stuff, the dead things, the dead weight, the things that are attached to us that are not good for us. So when it comes to cutting, when it comes to crushing, when it comes to pressing or pressure, eventually something good comes from it. When I think about the pressure cooker, you put something in the pressure cooker, and there's pressure in there. It's heat and there's pressure. But yet, on the other end, when the time is right, it's some good food. It's some perfectly good rice. It's whatever is in the pressure cooker, if it's seasoned right, usually comes out good. You have some nice, tasty food. For those of you who like to drink wine, in order to get the wine, you got to have some sort of crushing of grapes. Grapes have to be crushed. In order to have orange juice or grapefruit juice, fruit has to be crushed and squeezed in order for you to get the juice, in order for you to get the taste that you want. Again, for the wine drinkers, things have to be crushed and put through a process in order to have some of the finest wine. And the thing is, we want the wine without the crushing. We want the orange juice without the squeezing. We want the end result without the pressure. And so today, I just want to bring up 3 quick things that potentially can kind of help us in understanding I want to become something better than what I am now. But that is going to take some crushing. It's going to take some pressure. It's going to take some squeezing. And so the first thing I want to bring up is pressure reveals your foundation. Yeah, pressure reveals your foundation. When pressure hits, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your preparation. Yeah, let me say that again. When pressure hits, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your preparation. Here's the thing: we have to prepare. I was just in a training or a class the other day, and I say it all the time, but this person had a shirt on and it said, "If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready." The other day I was just watching, I think it was This Is It, the Michael Jackson, when he was preparing for his last tour, and we were watching it, and I was so amazed how he rehearsed like it was the actual concert. Like his rehearsals, he had full rehearsals like it was the concert. I mean, the lighting man, all the musicians were there, all the people were there. They ran the full show like it was thousands and millions of people there, but it was just all the people who were there who needed the show to be produced. Yeah, full makeup, full costume, changes, sets, everything. I mean, he spent months and probably, I would even guess, a year, I don't know how long, in preparation for what he was actually going to do on tour. And I remember leaning over to my sister. I'm like, man, he doing it so much and so meticulous that the show is just going to be another rehearsal almost. Because they're doing it that meticulous. And so what happens is when we're put into pressure, pressure reveals what your foundation is. Pressure reveals what you've been preparing for. And so if you stay ready, if you prepare like something's happening tomorrow, you'll always be ready. You know, in the housing industry, because I'm in real estate, if you have an 800 credit score and money in the bank, it don't matter what the market is. Why? Because you can get the best deal and the best price whenever the market is, whatever it's going to be. So when it tanks, and you have the best credit score and money in the bank because you've been saving, you can buy property, investment property for really cheap. Yeah. Yeah. You can buy investment property, and you, when it tanks and it's going bad, you can get the cheapest house, you can get the cheapest land, you got the money to do it, and you got the credit score to support it. But if you don't have a good credit, if you're not constantly working on your credit score, if you constantly are not saving, when the market goes up or down, or you're something, a good deal comes along, you're not ready to buy it. You're not in position to make the acquisition. You're not in position to make the purchase. You're not in position to get the property or the deal. Why? Because you haven't been preparing. You haven't been preparing for the market to crash. You haven't been preparing for things to change. You haven't been preparing for the deal to come up. I remember listening to Kevin Hart one time, and he says how he kind of deciphers his money. He says whenever he gets a check, he puts 50% of it away aside for the next deal that may come up. I mean, he don't even know what it is. He's like, well, what's the next deal? He was like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to come up. And so how many of us are preparing for what may come up? How many of us are preparing for the pressure? How many of us are preparing for what we might be squeezed for, what we might be pressured to do, or the pressure that comes that will develop us, or the opportunity that may come? You see, the bottom line is pressure reveals your foundation. Pressure reveals what you've been preparing for. If you're constantly praying and reading your word, when the hard time comes, you can now lean on what you've been praying about. You can lean on God, the person you've been praying to, and you can lean on His word, what you've been reading. You know what it says. You know what the promises say. But if you ain't been doing that, which that's what happens most times, right? People run to God when they're in trouble, and it's tough. Why? Because they ain't been preparing. They haven't been reading and talking to God when nothing's going wrong. And so when stuff comes, it's that much more of a struggle. Now, that's not to say that it's not hard, even if you're constantly praying and reading the word, because tests get harder and harder. But it's a little easier. It's a little less challenging because you've already been preparing for it before the pressure came. And so that's the first thing I want to raise, is that pressure reveals foundation. But not only does pressure reveal foundation, pressure refines your character. Yeah, pressure refines your character. So before I went through my whole depression and drinking and all the stuff that I went through for approximately 11, 12 years, before that, I used to be like, when I would see people get a DUI or drinking, man, why don't they just stop, man? Why they drinking and drive? They can't just sit at the house and, but then I got in my situation. Yeah, I got in my situation. And what happened? Now I see things different. I don't even look down on people when they go through that. Now, I understand that we all need some help and some guidance and things that we could do better. But the character that I have behind it, I have compassion for people who go through stuff, especially when it has to do with drinking and driving, or anything to do with substance abuse, or any kind of depression. I have a little bit more grace and compassion for those people, because I went through something that helped me develop my character. I went through something that helped me to see what the other side looks like. I mean, I can't tell a woman how to deal with labor pains? Come on, somebody. I'm going to give myself some claps for that. I can't tell a woman how to deal with labor pains. Why? Because I've never had labor pains. I've never been through that kind of pressure. I've never been through that kind of situation. And so it'd be hard for me to, I can only empathize with what women go through. But I can't truly understand what a woman goes through. But somebody who's been through it, oh, they know. And they can kind of help the person along. Whereas in somebody like me, while I might have some empathy and compassion, I just see it. Well, how long does it take for you to, be down? Or, all right, you had the baby. Or, man, it can't be that bad. My thought processes might be different because I haven't. And so when we go through pressure, it refines our character. It kind of adjust how we think about certain things. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Ore is produced under crushing. Muscles grow under resistance. That's growth. I talk about that often. So like when I go to the gym, and I'm lifting weights, which I ain't been in a couple months now, so I need to get back. I jog and walk every day, at least 6 days a week. But going to the gym, not so much. I need to get back to it. But when I go to the gym, the muscles hurt. Especially, the first day or second day back to the gym, they hurt. And even if I'm pushing myself, if I'm pushing up weight more and more and more, the reps are getting higher, my muscles are sore, they're aching. And from my understanding, from what one of the trainers told me, when you're lifting weights and everything, your muscles are breaking down. That's that pain that we feel. And then after doing the recovery part, they're building back up, but they're building back stronger. They're building back stronger. So when we have the pressure and the weight, it refines who we are and makes us stronger, allows us to grow and be better versions of ourselves. So it refines and builds character within us. And so if we're going to be better versions of ourselves, we have to understand that there's going to be some pressure that we have to undergo. There's going to be some crushing that has to happen. If we're going to be better fathers, better husbands, better friends, better whatever thing that it is that we're doing, preachers, teachers, speakers, real estate agents, professionals, doctors, lawyers, if we're going to be better individuals all the way around 360 degrees, because it don't make no sense to be the best doctor you can be, but you're a bad husband. It doesn't make any sense to be one of the greatest preachers in the world, but you're not a good father. You're not a good husband. You're not a good friend. You're not good in some other area in your life. We have to be better 360 degrees all the way around, be better versions of ourselves. And in order to do that, we have to have some pressure. We have to have some crushing. And so the third thing that I want to raise is that pressure reveals your direction. Yeah, pressure reveals your direction, who you are becoming. This is where the pressure develops who you will become, the direction that you're going. Yeah, so oftentimes, okay, so let me say this. Before I had all my issues, my depression, my drinking, I had a totally different route that I was going to take. Totally different route. Totally different. Because of all the stuff I went through, I had gotten licensed in real estate, was still kind of struggling with it, but then I had my issues. I always talk about the Jonah in the well moment that I had, and that was sitting in the jail cell. Like, how did I get here? How did I get in this jail cell? And I'm praying to God and saying, God, I'll do whatever you want. I'm tired of running. This is painful. I don't know what else to do. And all I got is you right now. Once I got out of there and I started, and it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight. I fell a few more times even after getting out of the jail cell. But God, what is it that I need to do? Hence, something that I never wanted to do, which was preach, teach, and speak, is exactly what I do now. The pressure revealed my direction. The pressure revealed my purpose. The pressure revealed that God said, I need you to preach, teach, and speak. The pressure revealed, this is what I need you to do. And then in combining my real estate, I just told somebody this the other day. I believe my ultimate calling and assignment is to help churches develop their property, their land, to use the resources and things that God has given them and show them how to benefit the kingdom of God, to help their community, and help some of the things that are happening around this nation, how we use real estate to help that. Yeah. So not only am I called to preach, teach, and speak, but I believe my ultimate goal is to help churches or show churches through things of the Bible, but also practically between the things that are available on how to develop their land and how to allow their churches to use resources that we don't normally, or we haven't done things that way in the past. Yeah. But I would have never got none of this had I not gone through some of the stuff I went through. I would have never gotten any of this had I not had that pressure. I would have never figured out any of this had I not had the crushing. The pressure revealed my direction. The pressure revealed my purpose. And so if you're feeling some pressure today, if you're feeling some pressure this week, if you've been feeling some pressure last year and the beginning of this year, 2026, maybe God is trying to reveal a direction to you that you didn't think about, that you're not thinking about. Who does God want you to become? What purpose does God have for you? You might have been thinking one way, and God is trying to allow you to go a different direction. I want you to think about that. What kind of pressure are you undergoing that God is trying to show you some direction? God is trying to show you what your true calling is. God is trying to show you what your purpose is. Because I didn't truly understand what it was until I had some pressure. And I'm talking about some serious pressure. I didn't understand what it was until I had some crushing. I didn't understand what it was until God was squeezing me and pruning me and allowing pressure to come to me. And so I thank God for the pressure. And so what we have to start doing is we have to thank God for those times that we're in pressure. We have to start thanking God for the crushing. We have to start thanking God for him allowing us to go through the fire. I think about the 3 Hebrew boys. When they were thrown into the fire, once they came out, they got elevated. They got elevated. Joseph, he went to prison. He was sold into slavery, thrown in a pit, went to prison. And after all of that, he got elevated. So I ask you today, what is it that you're going through? What pressure are you dealing with? What struggle are you having that God is trying to show you something? He's trying to reveal who you are. He's trying to give you direction. And he's trying to refine your character. He's trying to reveal who you are, who you're becoming, give you direction, and refine your character. God wants you to be the best version of yourself. God has a plan and a purpose for your life. And it's going to take the crushing and the pressure and the heat to help you to get to your ultimate goal, your ultimate purpose, your ultimate assignment. All right. Hey, that's my time for today. Hey, appreciate you listening. If this had some influence or impact in your life, make sure you share it with someone. Always want you to share, subscribe, and like. I appreciate you tuning in. Man, I tell you, this has been amazing time. 2026, we got some amazing things going on. So I want you to stay tuned right here on my channel, Marcus J. Scott 4040, Marcus J. Scott 4040, where I give you inspiration throughout the week and throughout the month. But we do have our podcast every Monday morning right here. Marcus J. Scott 4040, Marcus J. Scott 4040. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. You know how I like to always end the show. Always have a heart of gratitude and the strength to keep moving forward. God bless you.
It's your time. Yeah. The drunken preacher. The drunken preacher. It's your time. It's your time. The drunken preacher. The drunken preacher. The drunken preacher. The drunken preacher. The drunken preacher.